Andrew McAllister. Is there a backstory or a reason, a logical reason, why some tartans are so busy? For example, McAllister, McDonald, Staffa, Ancient, Macintosh, Ancient, Artifact, Matheson, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Why, he's wondering why are they as crazy looking as they are? Was it to show weaving skill, or was it more expensive to make and therefore it was rare or special or a luxury? It's very noticeable. For instance, when he's looking at our website, that he can tell that these busier tartans seem to be in the minority. Does the tightness of the pattern make it more difficult for the kilt maker in terms of pleating? So it's a two-part question, actually. Is there a reason for it, and then is it harder to work with?
Is there a reason for it? No. Tartan designs are just aesthetically pleasing to the designer. Mm-hmm. There's little rhyme or reason to why generally, especially older tartans, were designed specific ways. There's the Ogilvy tartan, not the hunting, but the other one, which is jokingly referred to as the weaver's nightmare, because there's like literally dozens and dozens of changeovers from one color to the next. So the weaver has to keep feeding in new bobbins like every third or fourth pass. But there's that, but there's no reason. It's not like showing that you're wealthier or something like that. It's just aesthetically more or less pleasing to that specific designer. What was the second part of the question? Oh, is it make it more difficult?
Yeah, is it more difficult to decide how to pleat it or how to work with it?
Yes, it does. When you have a set size or a lot of color changes within a short distance, what ends up happening is when the kilt maker is actually trying to pleat things, we have to have a section that's 3/4 of an inch wide, half inch to 3/4 of an inch on an 8-yard kilt. And you have to have, it's ideal to have a solid color on both sides of a particular stripe, because when you pleat it up, it ends up, looking better. If you have a lot of little individual lines, when you're pleating a kilt, the top of the kilt at the waistband, I'll use this as an example. Mm-hmm. For somebody with a waist to hip difference of 5-6 inches, all of that taper, or the majority, not all of it, the majority of the taper is done in the pleated section to account for the rear end. So the top of each pleat is going to be narrower than the bottom of the pleat. So if your pleat is 0.6 at the top, it may be 0.8 at the bottom, which means that we're taking a little bit away from either side of the pleat at the top, and then you kind of, on a slow, cone shape, as it were, you're going out a little bit, and then you straighten it out at the last inch on the bottom. If there's a stripe that runs right on that border, it ends up kind of being there at the bottom, but disappearing somewhere in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So you end up with like vertical spikes coming up in between the pleats. Mm-hmm. And that, it really doesn't look good because a line just kind of disappears into nothingness.
Gone. Yeah. Okay.
So, Mac, do you have any other thoughts on that as our other kilt maker in the room?
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, just the you get that spears of color that disappear. Certain ones, it really. Well, certain ones it stands out more, especially if you have a bigger hip and waist difference.
Okay,
it really stands out.
Okay, if you have like a 10-inch difference, then you're talking about like a quarter or half-inch difference from the very top to the very bottom of each pleat.
Okay,
so you really have to have a wide section that's clear, so you don't notice a stripe disappearing just poof.
Now, is it fair to say that the more complicated, weird tartans tend to be older, like over 100 years old, or are they a more modern thing, by and large? It's all over the map.
Ian just had a custom weave on his desk, and that was just as busy as anything else.
Okay.
So it's
the custom weave because it was a brand new.
Yeah,
like
brand
custom
new.
tartan.
Yep.
Okay, newly commissioned tartan. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard you guys talk about 6 being a magic number for a lot of weavers. I know, like Anderson, a lot of time there's like an extra color stripe that they leave off because it's a pain to do. The mills a lot of time will just leave it out. So why is 6 a magic number for thread? Color changes.
I'm not sure. I'm not a weaver, so I don't know the absolute technical. I just know that there was a limitation on the looms. Some of the older looms, they have you had to have no more than 6 colors.
I see.
It was the changing, like you had X number of bobbins and X number of threads on the warp. I'm not sure exactly why. I have to kind of dig into it a little bit.
Okay.
I know that 6 was the magic number. Some of the mills have 7 as the magic number, but as the lowest common denominator, 6 was the top that you could actually do. So that's why most tartans have 6 or less colors in them. Most have at least 3. Some have 2, but you can't just have 1 because then it's solid.
That's black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Exactly. But yeah, Anderson has a 7th color, like a couple different shades of blue, and a lot of times a mill will actually leave one of the blues out, or trade it off with the other blues that are in there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Indeed.
It's a complicated world.
Yes.
It really is.
Weaving is not easy.
Yeah. Weaving is not hard. Yeah. There's a song lyric in there. I can't remember it. Never mind.
Fair enough.
Yeah.